Oh, so I, in the last 3 months, shitloads of vintage vehicles, that aren't restored have come up online because of the economy, And so there was, in the state of Arizona, maybe 3 to 5 of these. Now there's 1. They all sold in the last week. Yeah.
Dude, what the hell, huh?
Yeah. And I'm talking about vehicles like as shitty as this. Like way shittier than this.
Right?
And there was a, I don't know, 1940 something Chevy pickup that I wanted to buy. It's $4,500 complete. And it was torn apart, but it was, it was running when they tore it apart like a year ago.
Huh?
And they just wanted to dump it. And I was like, oh, dude, Bob, we gotta buy this. You gotta buy this. Because I knew it was a steal. You normally wouldn't find that for less than 10 grand.
Right. It's just in parts, basically.
Yeah, but it was all there. And it wasn't like pure rust. It's been painted before and stuff. So like, it had good bone.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, 2 weeks later, gone. I mean, that was a smoking price. But I don't have any money.
Good boss said, hell no.
I have nowhere to store anything.
Okay.
See, that's all that's going through my mind is like, if I could only pull this in my backyard and then not give a shit about how much noise and dust or whatever. I don't care, But being out here, I just feel a little bit exposed.
I mean, this is a good starter base. I mean, you got at least 1 or 2 layers. I mean, if you look at it that way, right?
I appreciate the positive spin.
I mean, you just need another 2 more layers down, right? I mean,
Yeah. It was something like, this is 3 years ago when I got the quote, but it was $1,800 for him to sandblast the whole outside, which of course would warp these panels, so I don't want to do that. The whole outside, the whole underneath, and just what we did here, including the dash, but not these, leave the walls and stuff. And you do something like that, and you're like, it's done in 1 day. I couldn't get a chemical dip company because no one had a tub big enough to fit this, so you couldn't dip it and like acid it off. So the next best thing was, the sandblasting, and then everybody's like, oh, well, you're gonna have sand in every nook and corner, and you can't get it out unless you're on a rotisserie spinning it, which I can't do on this vehicle. I could if I had 4 grand, but I don't. Well, you put it on a rotisserie and spin it, and it's like, and so you just listen to all these people with their opinions of like, oh, you can't, oh, you don't want it. Car stays vertical. It goes in a crash, and then you see sand split out. Who cares?
fair, huh?
you
when I couldn't pick up with a vacuum and I can't see, I'm okay with it, right?
Yeah, like long as it's not like in an area where it's collecting moisture and then rotting out, which might be the reason that we get all pissy about it. But so we got some areas up here that I'm seeing a little bit of rust, and I don't know where it's coming from. So we're just doing a few patches and removing the paint so we could see if there was something going on under there. There's a hole there. There's what looks like where a taxi cab thing would happen over there. And we got a big hole over there and a big hole over there. So we're trying to get that all dialed in. And as you can see, life happens, gets in the way, and I missed my timing window on getting this stuff to bake and remove the paint. And so if it dried up to begin with, it didn't do anything. If it dried up because it went too long, then it gets stiff again and it's hard to remove. So you can see all the scaling, like it did something, but then I can't get it off because it dried up. Where if it wasn't dry, then it would literally just come right off like it's no big deal. So I would assume that we're at the 50% mark, because we had the kind of yellowish blonde look, and then some areas there's black. I don't know what the deal is with that. Maybe some kind of repair or something at some point. But then the blue, and then the red primer, and then metal. And so, you know, you could see we're down to the blue, and if you scraped really hard, you could. The blue was soft enough. But yeah, and so when it got really dry, like here, it dried out because of, you know, holes in the floor and stuff. It didn't even do anything. It didn't have time to set up and do anything. If there was rust, it didn't do anything because there's nothing to react to. And then, you know, if it dried up prematurely, then you got this almost like a duct tape residue that sat out in the sun for, you know, 30 days, and then you pulled it off and you could just see that kind of texture, and it's really stiff. So yeah, so I'm going to try to figure out what I'm going to do, and for the most part I might use the airplane stuff up here because it just seems like I need to hop on it more, but I might try the citrus strip one more time up front. I think there's just too many air holes, so I need to streamline the plastic taping and stuff a little bit better and not just assume that it's going to cling and there's no air pressure, because this is a really windy area and it blows into those holes and pressurizes and pushes the plastic up. So for instance, we did all the sides of the wheel wells, but it didn't do jack, because when I would see it baking, there was an air bubble in there. So that dried out, didn't go anywhere. But over here, in fact, you could still see it's wet right here. It went right down the metal like it's no big deal. So the key is keep it wet and remove it before it dries. So we will try again. It is what it is.